Hello, welcome back to Let's Play Jane's Fighters Anthology as we continue with the reference materials. So today, we are going to be finishing off with the AIM-9B. AIM-9B Sidewinder. Title, AIM-9B Sidewinder, type short-range IR air-to-air missile. Development. This quite exceptional development program started at what is now called the U.S. Naval Weapons Center, China Lake, California in the late 1940s. First prototype flew in 1953, and the first generation of Sidewinder, the AIM-9B, entered service with the U.S. Navy and U.S. Air Force in 1956. Designed by the U.S. Navy's staff at China Lake, the Sidewinder family is now in its third generation, with the latest version AIM-9R now in development. The U.S. Navy and U.S. Air Force came together and moved to a joint development program for the third generation of Sidewinder missiles in 1970, making the major performance change from earlier tail aspect engagement only systems in the first and second generation Sidewinders to an all aspect capability with the AIM-9L Sidewinder. In addition, the AIM-9L was designed with stringent reliability requirements superior to any other air-to-air missile system with a long storage life and several hundred hours of aircraft carried flight without defect. The Chaparral system was developed further by the U.S. Army to an equivalent standard with MIM-72 CEF, G, and H versions. Production of AIM-9L started in the U.S. in 1976 and are licensed in Europe and Japan in the early 1980s. Further development continued with the AIM-9M version. Sorry, I lost my track there. Further development continued and the AIM-9M version entered production in the US in 1982 with principally an IR countermeasure capability to detect and reject decoy flares, but also with a new reduced smoke motor. AIM-9M flare rejection circuits were upgraded following operational experience in the 1991 Gulf War. AIM-9S is almost the same as AIM-9M, but with a slightly larger warhead. AIM-9R was being developed to improve further on the AIM-9M and was expected in service in the early 1990s, fitted with a visual band CCD seeker, but this program was halted in 1992. Further development of the Sidewinder is being pursued by the U.S., with several programs funded since 1989, examining various options for what has become known as the AIM-9X or Sidewinder 2000. Description: the AIM-9 Sidewinder missile has four swept front control fins and four clipped delta wings at the tail with the distinctive roller-ons at the trailing edge tips. The AIM-9L and 9M versions are 2.87 meters long, have a body diameter of 127 millimeters, and a wingspan of 0.64 meters. Both missiles weigh 87 kilograms. The IR Seeker has an all-aspect engagement capability, and the 9.5 kilogram blast fragmentation warhead has an active laser fuse. Several modes can be used depending upon the avionics fit in the carrying aircraft. Primarily, there is the simple bore sight mode, an uncaged scan mode, and a mode with the missile seeker slaved to the aircraft radar or to a helmet-mounted sight. The AIM-9M version is known as the AIM-9S in USAF service and is believed to have a larger 11.4 kilogram warhead, which has also been fitted as a replacement to some AIM-9M missiles. The AIM-9P versions are 3.07 meters long, have a body diameter of 127 millimeters, a wingspan of 0.64 meters, and weigh 82 kilograms. These missiles in the 9P3 and 9P4 later models have an all-aspect engagement capability. In addition, 9P4 has an active laser fuse similar to that first introduced on the AIM-9L. AIM-9R was basically the same as the AIM-9M, but with a visual band CCD seeker and microcomputer tracker. The seeker has improved acquisition range at IRCM circuits, as well as having the cryogenic cooler used in all other Sidewinder versions removed. The one limitation with the visual seeker, however, is that it cannot be used at night. An improved seeker with dual mode, thought to be visual and IR, is believed to be in design for later Sidewinder, AIM-9X or Sidewinder 2000 versions, as well as reduced size wings and fins to give a smaller radar cross-section and less aerodynamic drag. AIM-9X might well be fitted to early versions of the ATF, and hence internal carriage would be made easier by smaller or folding wings and wing fin assemblies. Specifications: AIM-9L, 9M, and 9S. Length 2.87 meters by diameter 127 millimeters, wingspan 0.64 meters, launch weight 87 kilograms, warhead 9.5 kilogram HE, blast fragmentation, fuse, active laser. Guidance IR. Propulsion solid propellant, range 8 kilometers. AIM-9P, length 3.07 meters by diameter 127 millimeters, wingspan 0.64 meters, launch weight 82 kilograms, warhead 12 kilogram HE, blast fragmentation, fuse RF or active, guidance IR, propulsion solid propellant, range 8 kilometers. And we can see in our photo album here's some Sidewinders on what looks to be a Harrier, and that is, I guess, our only photo that we get. And in our 3D view, this is the AIM-9B. Not as blue as in the loadout screen, but we've got the AIM-9M, which has a different seeker head and slightly different forward assembly there, and then the AIM-9X, which, as you can see, was trimmed down without all those forward fins, so that way it has less drag. I believe some versions have like a directional thrust to make up for that. Let's see. Yeah, so the AIM-9M article is the same, but the AIM-9X 2000 article is different, so we will cover that in a separate video. And let's see if the AIM-9M has... Okay, there's an unusual configuration with a Sidewinder mounted on a Cobra helicopter. Pretty rare loadout, but it is there. So that will do it for us today. So with that, thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for next time, and stay safe out there, and we'll see you then.